And thank you, members of the Legislative Reform Committee. That's just a little bit of what we have going on with the Legislative Reform Committee. We want to make our voices heard during this time that they are in legislation, that they are in session. And so, to help us with that, we have Andrea Miller. She is the founding board member of the Center for Common Ground. She's the executive director of People Demanding Action, the founding president of the National Women's Political Caucus of Virginia, and a member of the Democracy and Governance Working Group of the Virginia Green New Deal. Andrea has come to us before. She has a wealth of knowledge when it comes to lobbying and to fighting for those without a voice. And so we're going to learn from her today. I want you all to take just a moment and type into the chat, happy birthday, Andrea. She has decided to do this for us on her birthday. And we are so grateful that you have been such a wealth of information for us. So happy birthday, Andrea. Please tell us about lobbying.
Oh, Melissa and everybody, thank you so very, very much. I heard some great plans about what you want to do. And yes, you are right on the money. What I'm going to do is I am going through my how to be an effective citizen lobbyist training is pointing out areas where we have tools that can help you with some of the things that you want to do. And one of the reasons I have a deputy policy director is so that when groups like yours need assistance putting together digital advocacy alerts, that that is exactly what she is there for. You can give her the words, she can build the digital. So all those folks who can't go to Austin, all those folks who aren't really sure what to say, but yeah, we are in support. People that are on your social media, on friends of friends social media, will be able to participate in this action, and you begin to build a bigger and bigger list of people who are on your side and who are standing with you. So let's get started. Now, I was on Capitol Hill from 2009 until 2019 when I really got involved with the we started the C3 in 2018, but before that, I ran a C4 called People Demanding Action. And what we did was we lobbied, and we were on the Hill. I live 84 miles from Washington, D.C. We were on the Hill at least three, sometimes four times a month. We were a national organization, but we had members in 32 states where every month they delivered a letter to their member of Congress at a local district office, and they built a relationship. So lobbying is really all about building relationships. And what everybody wants is everybody wants to be effective. Nobody wants to be ineffective doing this. So I'm going to be walking you through basically the tricks that I learned of the trade over 9 years going to DC. And then I probably spent 6 years lobbying at the Virginia State House. So our agenda today is the art of lobbying, the science of lobbying. You already heard about a wonderful legislative tool, Bill Track 50. I've got a brand new toy. We'll talk a little bit about advocacy tools, which are going to add a boost to what it is that you're doing. So you already went through a whole bunch of stuff about me, so I get to skip all that. Thank you. Now, why we're here today, lobbying. There are over 30,000 paid lobbyists in DC. We are doing citizen lobbying in that there is nobody that is paying us. We are lobbying because I love what you said. We are lobbying for the weak. We're lobbying for the voiceless. We are lobbying for justice. Legislators need educating, some a lot more than others. They don't know everything. Lobbying works. If lobbying didn't work, it wouldn't be $1 billion industry. It is our responsibility to let our elected officials be aware of and understand our agenda. A lot of evil gets done in the darkness when legislators think no one is looking. One of the things that we get to do as people of faith, when we see something, we can name it and call it out for the injustice that it is. And when we lobby, it not only shines a light on that injustice, we have the capability of shining a spotlight on that injustice. Now, when we're lobbying, what are we trying to do? We want to influence, we're working to persuade, we are bringing pressure. And I really like where you're going with this. You're going to be consistent and persistent. When I used to give these classes in person, I would always ask people, who are the most effective lobbyists in the world. And then you'd see people trying to remember names of big law firms that lobbied and all kinds of other things. And it's like, no, 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 no. The most effective lobbyists in the world are children. How many of us, and I'm not going to make you raise your hand, how many of us have ever told a child, no, we're not going to get them something, we're not going to let them do something, and eventually all that goes out the window and they get what they want. Why? Because they were consistent in their ask. It never changed. They modify the methodology of asking, they might modify the words a little bit, but the overall ask slash demand was always consistent. And it is amazing how persistent children can be. That is why I love your letter writing campaigns. I love your call campaigns. And I love that you plan to visit not only the Capitol, but you also are looking at, let's get visits going to local offices. That is the persistence. One of the things a legislator told me, probably back in maybe it was 2014 or 2015, it was probably 2015, and I was lobbying at the state. He thought I was a Republican because of the way I just barged in there. And he was making a comment about the state NAACP. And he said, when the NAACP shows up once a year, we're really, really happy to go and get our pictures taken with them because it looks good for us. And they really like having their pictures taken with legislators. But because we know they're only going to come once a year, we really don't take any of their ask very seriously. So You don't want to be those people where legislators use you as a photo op. Now, who can lobby? Anybody. It is your right as a citizen. Organizations that are a 501c4 are unlimited in the amount that they can lobby on issues. They can lobby 24 hours a day, 7 days a week if they want. And I really got to remember to change that slide, because 501c3 organizations are limited to 25% of their annual budget. So if basically all your organization is paying for his time off and maybe some gas to get people to Austin, you can make a lot of trips before you get to 25% of your annual budget. Now, why are we bothering to lobby in the first place? Number one, it is our responsibility as citizens. It is our responsibility as people of faith. Right now, when we look at what is going on in the United States, corporations are really in charge, not the people. So it is very, very important that we, the people, stand up and let legislators know we are out there, we are watching what you do, and we are not happy, and we are here to tell you about it. And if they've done something good, we always made it a point of thanking legislators when they did something good. You would thank a friend or a neighbor or a fellow church member if they did something good. Do the same thing with your legislators. Again, it is another way of letting them know you know what they are doing. So our voice is not just the voices of corporations and corporate lobbyists, have to be heard in the halls of Congress, and now, even more importantly, our state capitals. All right, now, what's effective? What are our goals? No matter what the legislator or the staffer says, you want to move them up to the next level. That is your goal. So if they basically are a no, your goal is to turn that no into a maybe. If they are a maybe, then your goal is to turn that maybe into yes. If they are a yes, then your goal is to turn that into can I help build support? Legislative bodies are very, very small internal microcosms, and we are outside. So if we can get someone that is a member of that elected body to talk to other members, because they will have access to other members when we just can't be there. This is really what we want them to do. Now, the art of lobbying. It's an ongoing campaign with a series of planned actions coordinated to have the desired effect. Now, lobbying is an art, and then it is a science. Both need to be carefully planned, researched, and executed. Now, messaging. I'm going to go state and leave federal for a minute. When you're messaging and you're already working on that, your messaging, first messaging is to get other groups of people to join your position and say, yes, we support this bill or we oppose this bill, so that it's not just you as one church or one organization out there. You want to keep building the power of your coalition. And then your bill has a far greater chance of coming out the way you want it to if other organizations and people understand and agree with your messaging. So your messaging really needs to be about justice and about how this legislation is really going to help the average person on the street. So one of the things that I really enjoyed about the Virginia Green New Deal was the first sentence. Our Green New Deal Virginia Coalition proposes to create thousands of good jobs. Well, all right, who's against good jobs? Now, addressing the climate emergency, there are people like, well, maybe we don't agree with that, and restoring Virginia's environment. And again, most people want a good, clean, healthy environment. There's just a question of what's healthy and how do we get there. um, Other messaging. If you can have pictures, pictures really and truly are worth 1,000 words. I'm going to deal just with the pictures. The first is a little boy and his hands are in the dirt, clean air, water, and land for all Virginians. So again, he's a cute little curly haired boy with glasses who is not going to like that child. You look at it and you're like, oh, okay, that's kind of what this is about. It kind of hits you in the heart. And then the second one, you've got a picture of someone who's listening. He's older, he's wearing a veteran's cap, and it's like, okay, um, typical person that we find in rural Virginia. They're older, they were part of the military, and then when they retired, they went back to the family farms. One of the really important things to remember about your messaging is people do things for their reasons, not yours. And remember that when you're talking to legislators. What do they want? How does the bill you want them to support or oppose, how does that further their goals? So always keep that in mind. Lobbying is really sales. And the number one rule of sales, again, people do things for their reasons, not yours. So again, I've got just some logos, some names of things that I always liked, something for many of us passed the Voting Rights Advancement Act, where we've got a very young John Lewis leading the march across the Edmund Pettus Bridge, and the bridge crossing in Selma is this weekend. And then we have Representative John Lewis, the elder statesman, and that Voting Rights Act of 1965 has now been renamed for him.